Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's Autodesk Virtual Academy brought to you by KETIV Technologies. I'm Nigel Mbayek, Customer Success Manager here at KETIV, and definitely good morning to everyone who's joined the call today. I'm joined today by Jorge Fernandez, who's our project manager here on the team, one of my colleagues. How's it going, Jorge?
All good, Nigel. Thanks.
Awesome. And so today we're going to be talking about something really exciting. Something new with the 2019 release of the products that happened maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I want to say. And that is going to be the new AutoCAD with specialized tool sets. And what that means is, I guess Jorge is going to go over it a little bit. There are a bunch of different AutoCAD verticals, all for different industries, all for very specialized tasks. Sometimes you need to do things, maybe run some piping, or you need to create some plant layouts, maybe do some electrical. Maybe you need, that library of stuff in AutoCAD Mechanical. There's different AutoCAD for every different purpose. We want to make sure that everyone's using the one that will speed up their workflow the most. So I think Jorge's going to go over all of the individual ones, maybe show a couple of use cases for a few while we move through this. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them into the GoToWebinar chat panel at any time. We'll make sure to answer those during the session or during the end, during our dedicated Q&A. And I think with that, let's go ahead and get started. So Jorge.
Cool. Yeah, I can sense that excitement in your voice, Nigel.
It's AutoCAD.
Rough morning.
I'm a little tired.
All right, let's get started here. So just really quickly, like Nigel said, we're going to go over what came out in 2019 if you're a subscription customer, part of the collection customer, or a collection customer when it comes to AutoCAD. As part of the new AutoCAD, you now get a lot more bang for your buck, I'll call it. So whether you're a mechanical engineer, architect, electrical designing, process piping, and even for you civil engineers out there, there's a lot more tools that you can use that are going to make you much more efficient, right? So we'll go over those in these next 30 minutes. And we'll want to make sure, too, after we cover these, we'll be happy to find out a little bit more from you and see what you want to know more about now that you'll have more access to these. I know a lot of our customers have been pinging us now saying, hey, now I have plant. Let's take a look at how that can help us out. So we're going to go over only one AutoCAD. Again, if you're a subscriber to AutoCAD or you have a collection, then you will now get all of these different tool sets. Really, in 2019, they came out with, I'll call 3 different categories that came out in 2019 AutoCAD. The first one, specialized tool sets, which is what we're going to talk about today. But don't forget, there was a few other things, too. They did some enhancements in the web and mobile apps, and just a few other quick mentions that I wanted to give you guys as a reminder in case you miss our What's New in AutoCAD AVA session. So there was a nice one here, a DWG compare, where you can literally have 2 different DWG files and find out what's the difference between them and be able to have a little rev cloud around it to be able to see what those differences are. It could have been text, as you see in this example here, and it could be actual geometry and showing you what the differences were in green and red, for example. Another really quick one that I wanted to mention was the shared views. So you are now able to collaborate even more. You've had some of this capability before, but it's just more integrated, more collaborative, right? So you have this toolbar on the right-hand side, for example, where you're able to see the history of all the different things you've shared using a 360 with different folks. You're showing the actual file itself where people can view it inside of the web. They don't even have to download. They can use their iPhones, Androids, tablets, you name it. They can use it. They can see it, be able to visualize it much better. And then also, you can use this on just about anything. You have a tablet, you have a phone, you're out in the field, you're out in the shop, you're able to see all this information. You're able to create the information too. Maybe while you're out there, you're taking measurements, it'd be easier to just have it in AutoCAD and you can copy and paste it later. Of course, it's going to be a little more difficult on an iPhone, but you can do this very easily now on Macs, PCs, tablets, and your phone. So just wanted to mention that really quick, make sure everyone is well aware of that. But what we're going to jump into that came out new in 2019, if you're a subscriber of the collection or AutoCAD, is the specialized tool sets.
Are they special? Would you say they're special, Jorge?
They are. Because what happens is they are specific to your industry. Yes, AutoCAD is great for the vanilla AutoCAD is what we call it, right? not because it doesn't have any flavor, but it's just very general, right? We're able to use it for mechanical and architectural and electrical and civil. We can use it for any of these things today, but I don't know if everybody knows that there's specialized tool sets inside of there that are going to make it easier for you, make it a little more efficient. And so what we'll do today is I'm going to focus a little more on the first three there. Of course, we're trying to keep this under a timeline here, under 30 minutes or so if I can, to give you an introduction to this, right? Show you how it can benefit you and how or when it can benefit you, I should say. And then we'll do a quick recap of the rest of the tools we have in here. And also we'll spend a little bit of time on Plant 3D. So to get started, the mechanical tool set. So AutoCAD Mechanical is what we're talking about. Many of you, I'm sure, already have it installed, but maybe you never actually use the mechanical portion of it. You just use the AutoCAD part of it. It has a library of standard components already in there. So even in the screenshot you're seeing right now, you're able to see that it's got screw connections, it's got shaft generators, even has a little bit of FEA in there. I don't know if you knew about that. AutoCAD Mechanical has been around for a long time, and it's simply mechanical tools on top of AutoCAD. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what that looks like here. So you might need this for a few different reasons. One reason maybe is you have some legacy DWGs and you want to start making them a little more intelligent. You can start to decide, well, I have a few options, right? Do I leave it in AutoCAD and just, if I need to edit and add another part to this table, maybe I just edit my table, you know, type it in and just, you know, come over here and put it in real quickly. Sure, that's one option. Another option is, well, maybe I want to put this in Inventor because I'm going to go ahead and make a full assembly out of this, and we need to document this and manufacture it. Another option is legacy data simply, and you need to start editing it, right? But regardless of any of those, we can start to use AutoCAD Mechanical for that. So I'll show you a few key features that make this much more powerful. First of all, not sure if everybody's well aware, but there's some workspaces that come with AutoCAD in general. So with AutoCAD Mechanical, you'll get mechanical and structure here. So I have this structure one that I've selected, which brings up this browser I have on the left-hand side. Look a little familiar for those of you that have used 3D before, right? We can start to actually build this structure that automatically builds the bill of materials we have on the right-hand side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use some very fancy tools inside of AutoCAD, like the rectangle command. I don't know why, but I just happen to type that one the fastest with my left hand here. And as I create this, it's just geometry right now. There's really no intelligence to it. There's just lines. But I can add some more intelligence to that by simply coming over here and saying that I want to create a new component. I'm going to call it housing for now. Tell it that it's the front view and select the actual geometry. Select my base point so I can insert it again if I need to. And voila, now I have here a part that's, notice, at the same level as the assembly, by the way, and I have a front view for it. And if I click on it, it actually highlights it here. And guess what, too? If I hover over to my bill of materials, I now have housing in there, too. So it takes a little more manual work out of it. Make sure that I actually account for these different things. There's a lot of different ways to work with this, of course, as well. You'll notice right now as I click on the different tools up here, I now have different options that I can use for any of this geometry, right? So to show you just a little bit more, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click this and make it active. So you notice everything else turns opaque. I'm now working on this one view here. A hole is a hole, right? It's really easy to create a hole in here. I just add some geometry. I add a center line. Maybe I'll extend this one. But again, it has tools in there to help you just a little bit further. If I go to a through hole, for example, I can choose exactly what type of hole I want, what the view is going to look like. And then on the spot, I can say, all right, let's put an insertion point here where it's going to end, and then simply choose what size I want. So I'm going to go with an M20 here for now. And it populates it. Maybe it's a little too big. What's great about this is a lot like a dynamic block. Actually, I think that's exactly what it is, a dynamic block. So notice this grip here. I can click on it and choose a different diameter. And without me having to do trimming, extending, or anything like that, I can very quickly be able to make this right here. I'll go just a little bit further too and use some hatching too. You know, as you can imagine, I might have to do some hatching here. right, to be able to account for where the shaft is at. Notice I can select these sections and the hatching still works as I expect it to. There's a lot of different tools inside of here, right? I'm active in this view right now. I can add screw connections to it. You know, maybe it's an assembly or something like that. I have things like a power view, which allows me to automatically create a side view of this hole that I created up here. I mentioned FEA abilities here as well just a little while ago, and I can finally close this structure, and it's all part of that component right there. There's some tools that have even been here longer than it has in AutoCAD. I don't know how many of you have used the hide situation. That actually got introduced into AutoCAD, oh, I don't know, I'll say about 3 or 4 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But I can add a hide situation. It came from AutoCAD Mechanical. So we have the ability to do things like that. Or if you're like me, and I've been using AutoCAD since, oh man, I think 96 or something like that, 96, 98, somewhere around there. The way I used to do things is I used to just draw a line to make my side view here or my top view and kind of line things up. I'm pretty sure a lot of us have done that. But now I have things like a construction line where I can just simply say, all right, I just want a horizontal line here that lines up with this. And this is not going to be plotted, but I can use these as a reference to be able to draw around this and use that as I build my orthographic views. So again, these little things just make it a little bit easier, even if you're having to edit a legacy drawing, right? All right, so we're skimming the surface. I just want to show you a few quick things on that. Let's jump back to the next tool, the architecture tool set. So this can come in handy for a lot of different folks. I think too many times we think, well, I'm not an architect, I don't need that tool. If you are an architect, you're going to be able to use it, right? I actually helped support this way back in the day as well. And it's a very powerful tool especially before Revit came along. You can also do 3D inside of here, and it's very easy to use. The concept I like to say a lot of the times is if you know how to make a line in AutoCAD, you can make a wall. Now, that doesn't make you an architect necessarily, but that does mean you can use the tools that an architect might need, right? Let's just say, for example, that you have a facility floor. I myself one time was caught in the hallway by the plant engineer when I was in industry, and he's like, hey, you know what? You know AutoCAD. I need you to create me the new exit routes. We added a new door over there, and we added some subdivisions, but we never documented that. I don't know how many of you have been found in the hallway with an extra job like that, but this makes your job even easier. You know, you might say, hey, let's draw a line here. Maybe you need to be the one who is actually assigned to making a new cell or trying to optimize the floor. Well, what we can do inside of AutoCAD Architecture here is, you notice there's a tool palette on the left-hand side here that allows me to add things like walls, doors, windows, and so forth. Columns to make sure we can plan around that and put things in the right place. So if I go to a wall, for example, I can just simply click over here on the existing geometry I already have. And like I said before, if you can add a line, you can add a wall. I simply insert that wall into here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to use my shift and wheel on my mouse to go into 3D mode inside of AutoCAD here. And there is my wall. I like to visualize this a little bit better here. So I'm going to go to a shaded view instead. And you can see how you can mix and match the 2D data with the 3D data. Maybe you need to add a partition. Maybe you need to add a new cell or something like that. Maybe a welding area. You want to put up some panels or something like that and visualize it a little bit better. This helps you out greatly, right? And again, I don't necessarily have to be an architect just to kind of idealize this and figure out, all right, what am I going to do? What am I going to plan and why, right? What's this going to affect? What's even better is if you have the product design collection, product design and manufacturing collection. This helps you with your factory workflow, by the way. So you'll have tools in here where you can actually sync this to Inventor. So literally, it'll go and create an assembly inside of Inventor, show you where those walls are, so you can actually place everything very quickly and easily. So if that's something you've ever needed to do, I strongly encourage you to watch one of our AVAs on Factory, which will show you how you can accomplish that too.
Yeah, I did the last one. You can hear me talk about all of this stuff with a data set very similar to this one.
I think I did a couple. I don't know. People can choose if they want yours or mine, right?
Ooh, I don't know.
All right. Electrical. Just to lay the groundwork here first, let's make sure we're talking about the right electrical. We're not talking about PC board design with AutoCAD Electrical. And we're also not talking about the electrical inside of a building. We're talking about, the way I like to put it a lot of times is pretty much from the wall socket out into the floor, right? What powers a machine, a control panel or something of that nature. So that's typically what AutoCAD Electrical will be used for. And we're talking about schematics, point-to-point diagrams, and control panel layout. And also, again, the whole idea is you still have the power of AutoCAD, but there's tools in there that are going to make it so much easier for you. I've gone to a lot of customers where either Visio might be being used today, general AutoCAD, for example, too, sometimes even Word and stuff.
I saw Paint once.
Yeah, Paint, that's right, yeah. But what this will allow you to do is you don't have to create your library. The library comes with it already. If you have your own library, you can still make that intelligent inside of AutoCAD Electrical. So let's go ahead and get to Electrical. So what I'll do here real quick is I'll show you how we make a ladder logic diagram. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I know I've encountered a lot of different customers. They have different standards they've built along the years, but this allows you to enforce those standards, if you will, so everyone is more consistent. So when I come into AutoCAD here, I have tools that are specific to electrical, right? Again, you can still do lines, you can still copy and paste, but now what I can do is I can add my own ladder in here. And it shows me a dialog box to be able to select exactly how I want to do it. Now, right now I'm overriding these, but bear in mind that you can have a project, basically, project settings that will allow you to choose exactly what you want by default. I'm going to say no rungs for now and show you that I can literally just click. I'm not clicking and dragging. I'm just clicking once, moving my mouse, and it starts to create this ladder logic. Now all I need is to add the wires inside of here. I could have done it with the wires already, but I just wanted to show you some of these nice tools here to make your lives easier, where I can just click on my command line, could have hit T enter as well, choose the type of wire that I want. And just by simply selecting in the rough area here of 421, for example, boom, it creates the wires for me with the connectors here on the edges too. That's great, right? But what about if I want to do just individual wires? No problem. We can come over here and select the nearest location on this line. And again, it adds that information for me, so I don't have to do it. I don't have to worry about what line it's on or having to manually put this information in. How about when you need to trim a wire, use a splicer? Guess what? There's a command here that looks like it has a splicer in there, and it's called trim wire, literally. And what this will do is it'll save me a lot of time by cleaning up that geometry and automatically trimming that wire. What's more is if we're looking at the standard components that come with it, you'll see there's a larger library here of anything from Allen Bradley to, oh man, I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. There's so many in here.
all of them, pretty much.
Pretty close to most of the things people are using today. It allows me to really, really quickly insert this information. Look at that. It even automatically capitalizes all the words for me here. You can look up through the catalog here. You can search through the catalog. You can modify the catalog, make it yours, change part numbers on it if you need to, and so forth. We've actually helped customers customize that so it has their internal part numbers as well. And I can very quickly get this information going. So all the components can be inserted this way. Just to show you a few other examples of some of the stuff that you can do inside of here, like panel layouts as well, so you can actually visualize the button. It comes with everything from report building as well, so you can actually build a bill of materials based off of these components, and even do audits on it to be able to run a report and figure out, is there anything that I didn't connect, any pins that are actually open, any pins that I over connected. It runs an audit and all of that, and it runs through all the drawings in this project and knows that it's one single project, so you can print it all out at once too. All right, the next one I want to look at is Plant 3D. So some of you might have heard also that there was some words out there, some rumors that P&ID was no longer available. It still is. It's just part of Plant 3D toolset now. So when you get Plant 3D, you get P&ID inside of there to do your process and instrumentation designs. And we can do it both in 2D schematics and in the 3D format, all inside, again, of AutoCAD. So let's go ahead and jump to that now.
Yeah, and I want to reiterate too, I think this is a question that gets brought up all the time, is Can I just like use AutoCAD, say architecture, and just draw lines, arcs, circles, and do standard AutoCAD workflow within one of these verticals? Yes. You have like all of the ability to do all of that in all of these verticals. I think some of the hotkeys change depending, right?
The basic ones are still the same though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're an advanced hotkeyer.
Like I am. I'm still used to having my left hand on the keyboard and my right hand on the mouse. I'm doing that again right now. And so as I go into this environment now, notice it says Plant 3D at the top, and I'm looking at a P&ID. If you remember at the beginning with AutoCAD Mechanical, I mentioned you have these different workspaces. So I'm going to go ahead and go to my P&ID workspace now, and you'll notice it'll bring up information that I'm going to use here now instead. Let me just move this over to the right so you can see the screen. Nope, too far. Here we go. All right, so you'll notice that I can go to these different components here. It looks a lot like your regular tool palettes that you might have used in AutoCAD before. So I can scroll through here and get to the type of equipment that I want to do. I'm just going to add a quick tank and a line in here to show you as an example. So I can literally just click and drag or click and click. And I scale this up and down. Again, this is just a schematic, right? So there's no actual size to it. You'll notice there's some tools in here, dialog boxes that pops up and allows me to just take in the next number, as well as look at existing tanks here so that I can, apply the right numbers to this and the right scheme. So I'm going to use something similar here by just going with 5001. Notice there's even options here so you can place the equipment tag on the spot. You can always right click on it later as well and be able to put it on the drawing still. I'll come up to my lines tab here on my tool palette on the right, and now I can click on the primary line segment. And what you'll notice is I can just click on the nearest location here on the tank, and automatically it starts to dynamically change for me and allow me to connect it to another line. So instead of me having to use lines and trims and stretching and extending and so forth, I can do this very quickly like you saw right now, and it starts to add the different schematic symbology inside of here for me. If I keep looking at some more equipment that I want to put in here, valves, I mean. Let's say I want to put a gate valve inside of here. Again, this is all standards-based components, right? No. I already have that in there. So I can come over here and assign some more values to it, put annotations on it, and put it on this drawing, and it automatically, kind of like you saw in electrical, automatically sections off the line to put in these components very quickly. Making, again, my life a lot easier when I'm having to create P&IDs. So again, it's using standards that most people have been using for a long time, and makes your job a lot easier. All right. So that's the 2D schematic portion of it. How about we jump over to the 3D part of it? So I have a simplified one here to show you for now. Let's go ahead and change my workspace back to 3D piping. And it's very easy for me to create this right here. I'll create something here in just a couple minutes. If I go to create, that allows me to select that's the pipe standards. I want to go to equipment. I go to create on the equipment, and you'll notice I have a pull down menu here of all the different types of equipment that I can create in here. Keep in mind that, again, if there's something in here that isn't in there already, it still can be modified, right? But it does have a really extensive equipment list, for example. So I believe I already have tanks here. I do. I can come in here and give it the tag number, for example, and so forth. Just for this example, I'm going to go ahead and create it really quickly. There's my tank. And I just tell it in what direction I want to build it. I'll go back to create equipment, and now I'm going to change it to pumps. I can type in the different values here as needed. I'm going to go ahead with my default right now, place it right here, and just simply say what direction. Now that I have those two components in here, let's start routing the pipe. So I literally go over here to route pipe, and what you'll notice is as I start hovering over the component here, it gives me the option to pick it so that it goes right off of it and captures whatever size it was there too. Now, right now I'm doing a quick demonstration of this, right? But you can modify what those sizes are too, by the way. As I'm moving here, you'll notice that I get this nice little triad and ability to move to different coordinate points. What I'm gonna do next actually is just hover over to the tank, and what's gonna do is gonna try to find the next one of the possibilities of how to get there automatically. So I can go to next here. I can, toggle between different options that it might give me, and finally decide which one I actually want to be able to create this. Once we do all this, we can go and have it create the orthographic drawings for us and the ISO drawings that we can use elsewhere. I'll just kind of bring up an example here really quick so you can see that. We can create these based off of this 3D plant that we've created as well. Be able to create reports off of it, look at the equipment list and bill of materials. All this information is right there instead of me having to create it manually inside of AutoCAD. All right, just a few more things here. Raster Design is another one that comes with it. Think of how many of you have a library, if you will. At one point, I was called a very expensive librarian because I also was managing the actual files that we had printed out, whether they're vellum or newer stuff, that is. So a lot of times we had some of these legacy drawings that were printed out and we had to scan in, right? Now we can take that and make vectors out of them and reuse them inside of DWG, and you get that with one AutoCAD now. Now it's part of the offering if you're a subscription customer. If ever you've had to work on a bigger site, maybe you're working with civil engineers. For those of you that are using this for civil purposes, you have the ability to incorporate GIS data into this as well, spatial data, and store all those files, or I'm sorry, collaborate and have all that information inside of AutoCAD as well, using Map 3D. And finally, the MEP tool set. So inside of MEP, we're talking about mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So mechanical in this case really meaning HVAC, ductwork type of work, for example. Electrical, now we're talking about the building, right? Now we're talking about the from the socket into the building, cable trays and things of that nature. We can do all that inside of MEP. And then lastly, the plumbing. So you can literally put the plumbing inside of here as well and see how all of that collaborates. So for any of you that are working on a BIM project, this could be a very great tool to start to incorporate as well that you will now have if you have AutoCAD. Whoops. All right. So to summarize, the only one AutoCAD. There's some, these are all specialized tool sets. There were some other quick new things that I talked about, like DWG Compare with 2019, sharing views, Raster Design, stuff for mechanical engineers, architects, electrical engineers that you can start to utilize. A lot of our customers have started to look at this and started to look at some and ask for some of the other videos we've done. So we welcome some feedback, right? I want to find out a little bit more from you. One other quick thing I want to mention, today, as of today, we have a new website. Please go check it out, especially if you've been going on to our KETIV AVA. There's a new landing page we have for you guys as well. A lot of the times we get asked, and it's probably one of our questions right now, I would assume, how can I view this content again? So if you go to KETIV.com under Academy, which is the first one you'll see here, you'll see that there's a little wheel here where you can actually select some of the most popular topics that we have inside of KETIV's AVA, Autodesk Virtual Academy. You'll also see upcoming sessions. So for those of you who don't know, we actually have 3 different streams going on right now. We have the Autodesk Virtual Academy for Product Design and Manufacturing Collection, which is the one you're watching today. We also have one for Fusion 360, which we call Fusion Fridays. And there's another one for Fusion Lifecycle as well, our PLM tool. So if you want to get updates on that, see when the next one is and what it's going to be about, this is where you want to go and you'll get that information. And if you go just a little further down, you'll see all the on-demand AVA sessions. So this will always be what was the last session that we did for, again, Fusion 360, Fusion Lifecycle, and Product Design and Manufacturing. If you want to know a little bit more about AVA, we welcome you at the bottom as well. In case you want to invite some of your other coworkers, this is where they can actually sign up and be able to sign themselves up, right? Subscribe. And in case you haven't seen, in case you missed Nigel and I, because we didn't get to have the video up today, unfortunately, you can get to know our team a little bit better down at the end. Take a look. New website's up today. We'd welcome some feedback, but hopefully, most of all, this will be helpful for you guys, for anyone wanting to see sessions, wanting to register for some of our other streamings that we have as well.
We'll see you all again next week, same time, 10 o'clock on Thursday. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Jorge.
All right, thanks.